Second concept, that is pod to pod communication. Pod to pod. Either you can write pod to pod communication and also node, node to pod. I'll show you, then you'll understand. Pod to pod and node to pod. This communication also happens automatically. Let's say I have one node, my base machine, that is what EC2 instance. This is my node. EC2 instance. Okay, this is my node. EC2 instance. This node is having two pods. Pod 1, pod 2. Pod 1, pod 2. Pod 1. Every pod will have IP address. This is pod 2. This is also having IP address. And each pod is having one container. So first let me create manifest. Whatever names that we give there, we'll take the same name so that you'll understand easily. I'm going to create two manifests. For each pod I'll create separate manifest. Okay. So first VI interpod 1. You can give whatever name that you want. I'm giving YML. Interpod 1.yml. So I've pasted the script. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating test pod 1 pod. Instead, I'm keeping one container, C01. You must be thinking, Sai, whatever setup you are starting here, in previous manifest you have started from here. Guys, you can give any number of spaces. These lines are there. You can start here or you can start here, your wish. But all should fall in a same line. That is important. These should fall in a same line. Either you start from here, here or here. That's your wish. But equal things should fall in the same line. So this particular pod is having a container called C01 Nginx. What is Nginx? It is also same like HTTPD only. What we discussed earlier, same like HTTPD. But it belongs to another company. Okay, that means if you take any one machine, if you install Nginx package, so here also package will be there, service will be started, service. And if you keep index file, whatever content you see, that we can see in browsers. Same like HTTP, it's a competitor. Got it? It belongs to Nginx, another company. HTTPD belongs to another company. That's the only difference. Okay. So I'm creating this container with direct Nginx image with port 80 opened. Right? So here test pod 1. You can see this is test pod 1 having container C01. Correct? C01. Now this I am creating with Nginx. So here Nginx is running. Okay, Nginx is running. Fine. Now let's come out of it. Then I'll create one more manifest before I execute this one. VI interpod 2. So here same test pod 2. Here I am creating this container with HTTPD image. Is also web package only. Right? Container name is C02. See test pod 2 C02 here HTTPD. Okay, both are web package only, belongs to two different companies. That is the only difference. That's it. Now here also I'm opening port 80. This is fine. See, these are in two different ports. No problem. Here I am opening port 80. Here also I am opening port 80. No problem at all. What I said, inside one pod, you cannot have two containers with the same port opened. Inside a pod. But here, these are in two different ports. Test pod 1, test pod 2. So you can open same port, no problem at all. Got it? Fine. Now let's apply these two. kubectl apply interpod 1 and kubectl apply interpod 2. I'm applying these two manifests. That's it. Now clear the screen. If you want to see IP addresses of these ports, command is kubectl get ports -o wide. hyphen o wide means wide output. O means output. Wide output means I want more details about these pods. More details means including IP address. As you can see, these are IP address for first pod, these are IP address for second pod. Okay, both are private IPs only. Remember, pods have private IPs. Okay, now, so first we are going to see node to pod communication. Node to pod. That means if you want to access this application, you have to use this pod IP colon 80. Okay, if you give this particular pod IP colon 80, then you can able to access Nginx. If you want to access this pod application, you have to use test pod 2, this pod IP colon 80. Then you can see this application. Let me show you. Curl. Right now, see where I am now. I am in my base machine, in my node. I am in my node. So here in Ubuntu machine, curl would be already there. You don't have to install. But anyways, if you want, you can verify. Which curl verify? Which curl? Curl is already there. See, we are in our Amazon EC2 instance, Ubuntu EC2 instance. Curl is already there. Now, curl. I am in my node. By sitting in node, I am using curl command, pod1's IP address, colon 80. I am in my node, pod1 IP address, colon port 80. Then you should be able to see Nginx default page. Nginx default page. Enter, you can see, welcome to Nginx. These are default web page of Nginx. Working fine? Okay. Now what I'll do, instead of using pod1's IP, I'll use pod2's IP. What is pod2 IP? You can see. Same thing and then 0.5, correct? See 0.5, 80. Now what I'm doing, I'm in my node. I'm trying to access the application in the container which is in pod2. So pod2 IP address colon port 80. I should be able to see HTTPD. Right now, press enter. Yes, it is working fine. It works. So what is the conclusion now? The conclusion is from node, you can able to access application inside pods containers. That means node to pod communication happens automatically. Again, here also you don't need any external network component. Communication is happening automatically, right? Okay, now what we'll do, let's test pod to pod as well. Okay, that means inside pod you be in one container, like this only. You be in one container, you try to access other pods containers application. Okay, so what I'll do, I will be here. I'll sit here. From here, can I able to access this application or not? That means I'm sitting here. I will use pod2 IP address colon 80. So I should be able to see HTTPD. Okay, that I'll be doing it by sitting in first container. Let's do it now. So go inside. Go inside any one of first pod. Okay. kubectl exec test pod 1. Test pod 1. So what is the container name? C01. C0. Sorry, C01. You can see bin bash. Okay. Now press enter. I mean, here you don't have to give any container name. You don't have to. Why? Because this pod is having only one container. So even if you don't give, by default, you will go inside that container only. Fine. Now from here, let's use pod2's private IP. What is pod2's private IP? This one only? Correct? Okay. Again, we have to install curl. Correct or not? Apt update. And see, if you want to run multiple commands, you can use like this. End symbol twice and apt install curl. Apt install curl. Okay. I'll highlight so that this is the IP address we are going to use. Yes, now press enter. Done. Curl pod2's private IP colon 80. Right? Enter. Working fine. It works. Correct or not? So what is the conclusion here? Conclusion is pod to pod communication also happens automatically. So I'm here right now. I'm trying to access application which is running here. So these also happening fine. These also happening fine. We have verified both, right? Now you must be thinking, Sai, what the hell we are doing? What actually we are trying to achieve? Guys, we haven't actually started networking part yet. Just I'm showing the basic set. What is a default setup which is already there that I have shown you. So now next class we are going to jump into actual networking. Okay. So inside container water application which is running, that how to access from outside the world. That is what we are going to see. But to understand that, you should know this basic concept first. So here, whatever we have learned that we are not using in real time. I mean, just these are basic that you should know. Okay, if you know these things, then what actually we are going to use, that you'll understand easily. Got it? Okay. So remember this one: container to container, pod to pod, node to pod. Okay. So later on, outside world, from outside, how to access the application inside, running inside the container. That we are going to see in our next class. Got it?